How you doing? So we're into another week. This is for the week Monday, the 18th of May, right the way through to Sunday, the 24th of May, 2026. And as ever, I'm talking about planet to planet exact aspects that are happening in this week because it describes our planetary architecture. I'm not necessarily talking about the moon unless it's full or new or it's doing something totally amazing and unusual. However, mostly I'm talking about planets moving into a new sign when they ingress into the next sign along, or even into the previous one. And I'm also talking about when one planet that's not the moon meets another planet that's also not the moon, or a node. And in the last couple of weeks, we've only had a handful of exact aspects taking place. And this week, however, we've got loads, so many I had to really mess around to be able to get them on the screen. That's how packed this week ahead is. It's got development, it's got forward motion, it's got 3 planetary changes, and obviously the moon is changing signs every couple of days. So there's a lot going on. There's also a Uranus CAZIMI. So if that wasn't enough just to make you go, ooh, that's a lot, then let's get going. Fear not, it's my advice. To me, this is where we're upping our tempo. If you think the last couple of weeks in my forecasts, we've been going through the waning moon phase leading up to the new moon that happened yesterday. I'm recording this on Sunday the 17th, by the way. Yeah, yesterday we had the new moon in Taurus. Now we are moving forwards for the next 2 weeks. This whole week is going to be in a waxing moon phase. To me, that's an indication that we start off slow and steady. And then by the end of the week, we're starting to really grow on something. So this is absolutely a week ahead where there's likely to be new opportunities. Now, the 3 planetary changes in order in time order, we have got Mars going into the sign of Taurus. Now, Mars has been in Aries for quite some time and he rules Aries. So he's been very happy. He's definitely made a splash in that sign, even though that's really mixing up my elements there. And Mars has really wanted to take action, and he does. He's fiery in the sign of Aries. He's gobby. He gets things done. He makes a decision. He doesn't wait for a fanfare. He just gets on and does it. It's very straightforward. He makes his decision and then he asks for forgiveness later if it's messed things around. In fact, probably not even then. He is the god of war, and so he's a little on the defensive side, but he's great to have on your side. And so I think this is a month where we have been very aware of our boundaries and also been aware of the force within us and how that's been growing and evolving. Now, when Mars goes into the sign of Taurus, and he's not ruling and he's not seen even as being in a beneficial sign for him, Mars in Taurus is seen in a more negative way because Taurus is ruled by Venus and Venus is Mars opposite. So, Taurus is all about being a lover, not a fighter. And yet Mars is coming in here. Now, I would never look a gift horse in the mouth. And here I think Mars really helps the Taurus energy to double up his efforts and get some things done. If you think of the muscle power in a bull, and I also think of the oak tree as synonymous to Taurus, Mars here is giving you the weight of an oak tree or the stamina and the muscle power of a bull. And Mars is just giving them a bit of an extra shove for a bit more impact. Now, obviously, Taurus is an earth sign. It's also very practical. So here, Mars is going to encourage us to get absolutely natural, absolutely practical, and to achieve things slowly, not necessarily in a fast way. In fact, absolutely not in a fast way. Taurus appears to enjoy the sense of longevity, like it enjoys that sense of things taking their good, sweet own time. There shouldn't be a rush, but here Mars is igniting something. So if you know what your birth chart looks like, it's worth seeing where Mars is right now and where your Taurus real estate lives within the monopoly chart of your birth chart. What house is Mars currently in? Because that's the part of your chart that is getting activated to take action. So, for instance, in my chart, he's just currently going into the 6th house, or no, he's halfway through the 6th house and he's going into Taurus within the 6th house. To me, that's helping me slow down a little bit in terms of my work and actually enjoy the process a bit more and to enjoy the longevity, like not be in a rush. It's letting me actually make sense of things, which is great. I've had Mars in Aries really zooming through it, and it has been quite, I've needed to steady myself quite a bit. But this is going to slow it down, but not make it weak. It's going to be purposeful action. If he's going into your seventh house, that's also going to have a different energy. Wherever he is right now, he is bringing in this sense of you're about to take practical action. And you might have to defend that part of your chart. You might want to stand strong in that part of your chart. It's interesting to have a look. Now, Mars is making a couple of aspects in this week ahead. He's making a lovely sextile to Venus, which I think is going to be really sweet. It's boy meets girl, but it's also about the masculine and feminine. It's the yang to the yin, and they're moving. This is a sign of balance, personal balance. And I say personal, actually, this is a very personal week. We're talking about the personal planets. We've got Mars, Venus, and the Sun all changing sign this week. These are all personal planets. Now, Mercury is, I think, changing signs next week, but Mercury is making a hell of a lot of aspects this week. So to me, it just feels like the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, they're all up to it in their eyeballs. They are absolutely working it hard in this week ahead. We've also got Venus going into Cancer. I should just say this is the chart for the CAZIMI later on this week that's happening on the 22nd. I just want to put it in because it's really highlighting the fact that we're really coming into this Gemini time, and it's heady, it's intellectual, it's a lot of information, and I will be coming to that in just a sec. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about Venus into Cancer, because Venus, she rules Taurus, she rules Libra, and she's a lover, not a fighter, which is obviously the opposite to Mars. Absolutely wants to take action and is really ready to his stuff and get involved, roll up his sleeves. There he is. Venus does much prefer keeping things sweet and kind and cool. And in the sign of Cancer, she can get very emotional. So she can be, Venus is a little bit emotional in the sign of Cancer. She's loyal and absolutely loves loyalty. She absolutely stands for the people that she stands for. But if you think about the Cancerian nippers, like they are absolutely ready just in case there is an offense, just in case somebody says something that could absolutely hurt the really soft insides of that Cancerian heart. The first thing the Cancer will do is hide. If you think of the crab, it goes under the sand. But the second thing, they'll be there with their pincers. I know this from going to the beach quite a lot with my kids, who find crabs and then chase them and then get a little nip. Venus here is absolutely wanting that flowing connection, that beautiful flowing connection. But if she feels threatened in any way, she might hide and she might come out. And so I think if you've got a very strong Cancerian energy, you're much more likely to be going into much deeper sort of relationship territory at the moment. Jupiter's already there, making it a vast space and a place of possibility. But your relationships are opening up, I would say, quite a bit. However, just be really conscious of the fact that your emotions are just felt so much more strongly. And so if you get that feeling of, oh, I'm not safe, you might go into hiding. And similarly, you might suddenly get a little bit defensive. So if it's worth checking out where that Cancer energy is in your chart, have a look at your chart, see where Venus is. What house is she in? What is she emphasizing right now? What is she wanting you to protect? What relationships is she wanting you to protect and look after? It's very nurturing here, really nurturing. So you might find that you're protecting something, looking after something, caring for something, really taking something else's side seriously, like taking someone under your wing. This is one of the benefits, one of the best parts of the Cancerian energy, I would say, is their protectiveness, like their sort of inbuilt mummy mode or daddy mode, more mummy. So yeah, this is an energy that's coming in. So if you've already got that playing in your chart and in your life, you might find you're doing it a lot more, but it might get slightly out of balance. You might feel really suddenly emotional about a cause, and then it's going to feel a little bit hard to handle. However, I really love the fact that Venus and Mars are going into that balance, because to me, that's going to, I think, bring in an energy of practicality. Mars is in Taurus, and so I think things can slow down a little bit. I think they're going to support each other. Venus is also going into, you'll see this in a second, Venus is in a sextile with Mars. She's going to go into a square with Neptune. And this is the bit, this is on the 22nd. Venus is going to be in an exact square with Neptune. And this is where some of the energies might just get a little bit too much, because Venus, and this is actually the chart for the 22nd, actually, because this is the CAZIMI chart. Venus going into this square here with Neptune is likely to bring up a feeling of idealization and a feeling of being betrayed, possibly, or things not being very clear in love. And both Venus and Neptune are in a harmonic of love and creativity. Venus is the terrestrial, where we feel that love and creativity, and Neptune is a higher harmonic of it. That's why Neptune really comes over in terms of a spiritual energy, that spiritual connection, that unconditional love. Venus is terrestrial love, like love between humans, and the love we have for our pets, our plants, and that love for the world. Neptune in particular is like a cosmic love, a much higher idealized love. And these two in a square to each other, I think, can bring in a real feeling of, first of all, over emotions, where you're really feeling things so much you almost don't know what's real. Neptune, when he makes a hard aspect to things, it really makes you doubt yourself. And I think situations that are a little bit foggy can ensue, especially when there's a lot of extra emotions, especially when people are feeling a little bit defensive. So I think that's something worth watching out for. Venus is, however, going to be making a really lovely trine to the North Node as well. Oh, I've got both of the nodes on here. Well, that's interesting in itself, because actually this week, and this is why actually I've got them in the charts that I use, I've always got the true node, the true position of the node. And then this one here represents the mean position of the node. It's like the average. The true node appears to be going forwards and then backwards and forwards and backwards. And so the mean node is used by lots of astrologers. Take your pick. Now, occasionally they're exactly in the same space. It happens every sort of month and a half. It's not always happening. It's interesting to see where they are in your own charts, actually. Mine have got like a degree and a half between them. The mean node, I think of as showing the idealized arc of karma. Like, where are we all collectively hoping to go? This kind of idealized picture as to what your development might be, what your spiritual journey is, etc. And then the true node, I think, is a little bit more messy. It really shows the kind of mess and the real journey that you're going on. And so interestingly, when they come together this week, and they're coming together on Thursday, where are they coming together? On Wednesday, the 20th, they're exactly in the same space. I think these times when the nodes come into an actual conjunction, an exact conjunction, these are times when it feels like life's mess meet with the overall plan, and it just, things happen, things fall into place. So you might find in this week ahead, things do feel very real and very planned, very fated, very much, I didn't see that coming, and yet this has just landed so perfectly, just at the right point in time. So yeah, it's interesting that Venus, she might feel a bit disillusioned. You might feel like somebody has let you down or hurt your heart somehow. It's very delicate, this square between Venus and Neptune. But at the same time, there is this consistent feeling that we are still on the right track. Whatever we're doing with our emotions right now, they are helping us get on the right track. And I think that's really important. Now, Mercury's got a lot of these aspects. If I'm not mistaken, Mercury might have gone into Gemini today, actually. So if I go back to, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Here we go. Yeah, Sunday, Mercury came in, or comes into the sign of Gemini. And then on Monday morning, Mercury is at 1 degree, exactly in a conjunction with Uranus. Now, I mentioned this in the new moon video. This is the first conjunction that these guys have had in the sign of Gemini, I think since 1948. It's around that time anyway. So it doesn't happen very often. And now it's going to happen for the whole time that Uranus is in Gemini, which I think is, it off the top of my head, until 20, I can't remember. Things are moving so fast now, it's really hard for me to just hold these dates in my head. But each year, as Mercury comes round, he's going to make another conjunction with Uranus and another and another. So there's going to be a series of these conjunctions. And this is significant because In a similar way that Venus and Neptune are, one's terrestrial and the others are higher harmonic. This is about love and this is about higher love. Mercury is about thought and communication. And then Uranus is about that higher communication, that cosmic communication, the channeling that might come in all of a sudden, the flash of insight. And so having both of them in the sign of Gemini, I think is sealing the deal. It's really bringing in our conscious human thought into alignment with our cosmic awareness that we're all co-creating right now. To me, this is a moment where it all comes into place and we all get a really big sense of it collectively. Now, in my Uranus in Gemini video, I was talking about all the things that Uranus is likely to affect as we go through all these changes, especially seeing as he's also applying into a trine with Pluto in Aquarius. And I recorded 3 videos about Pluto in Aquarius, but each time he went into it, there is a huge system change going on right now. All of our systems, the way we even see ourselves as human beings, like how we think about ourselves, how we categorize ourselves. I noticed last week there's a case I was following actually about, I can't remember the name, somebody versus Tickle, about a man winning the right to be legally seen as a woman. And it's been an ongoing case for a long time, but it's really interesting to me that case has finally settled. And the judge in Australia has said that Mr. Tickle is actually Mrs. Tickle. And so, sorry, as I said that, Mrs. Tickle, I almost said testicle. That's why I looked inside myself. I was like, oh my God, what happened there? So it's Mrs. Tickle, which again does sound like testicle. She might need to change her name. Anyway, like Uranus in Gemini and also Pluto in Aquarius is absolutely helping all of humanity at the moment, whether we like it or not, to come into new ways of thinking about the human race. And Aquarius is absolutely about the overriding world community. And Gemini is very much about the small community, the like our communities, but it's also about how these systems go from community to city to capital to country. So it's like all these little nodes connecting into slightly bigger places and even bigger ones. So there are these systems within systems. And so Mercury coming into this conjunction is absolutely bringing that world consciousness into an alignment with the human consciousness. It's like this is all coming together in a way, whether we like it or not, there are changes coming. Yeah. And then later on, the sun is going to come into Gemini on the 21st, and on the 22nd, there's going to be a Uranus CAZIMI where the sun appears to halo Uranus. It looks from our perspective on Earth as if Uranus is in the heart of the sun. Now with this, we get the full blast of the Uranian energy. We really feel that Uranus energy, that energy of difference, that energy of, oh, wow, change. There's so many things. My mind almost feels blown thinking about it, like shocks, revelations, new consciousness coming in. Yeah, there's just so many different ways. And I think all of the systems that we have in play are changing in a rapid way. And so I think this week ahead, so the sun in a conjunction with Uranus, again, that's going to be a repeating theme. This is the first sun Uranus conjunction in Gemini for, again, since the 1940s. So we are coming into this very new way of being. And this week is really ramping it up quite quickly. I'm now regretting saying testicle. How it's done. So yeah, 1 degree Uranus is really important because this is where there's the conjunction with Mercury, and also later on this is where there's the conjunction with the sun, the CAZIMI. Now I did look at this symbol very briefly in my new moon forecast, and this is basically saying, and this is Sabian symbols. If you've not seen them before, I absolutely recommend you go to sabiansymbols.com and look up Linda Hill's website. Check out your own symbols too, because they're really good. But this is asking about gifts. Are you a giver or a receiver? There are gifts given and received. I remember this because I was thinking it sounds like UBI coming in. I know there've been lots of talks around the world about UBIs and things like that. But this symbol is very much thinking about surprise gifts, whether we're a giver or a receiver, We might not always be clear what the intentions are behind the act of giving. Is somebody sneaking around? Is somebody trying to achieve something while no one's looking? But it's also about wishes fulfilled, like longing for gratification, gifts dispensed from unknown sources, sudden surprises, secret affairs, quick getaways, charity. So there's an element of surprise, there's an element of good surprise, there's also an element of like quiet wishes, things that we've really held close. So if you think about, to be fair, I never really believed in Father Christmas, but when I did, that thought of, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get a horse this year. I'm sure you had similar. There is that feeling of you might get your wishes fulfilled. There's a very sort of innocent part of us that believes in fairy tales, that believes that in these happy outcomes. And so there's an element of that going on this week. It's interesting that's starting off that Gemini energy, because as the sun and Mercury move through the sign of Gemini, it's going to really pick up that energy of surprise, that energy of gift giving and gift receiving. And so to me, this is asking you to be ready. This is asking you to be in gratitude. This is asking for you to be expectant of something good coming your way. And Uranus, he is moving forwards quite fast now. He's not going to be at this degree forever. He's going to be at 4 degrees by the end of July. I know that. So he is moving quite quickly, but there is still this energy. So I wonder, have you got a gift that you're ready to share? Is this something that you're feeling excited about right now? All kinds of gifts are absolutely enhanced. Now, because Mercury's early in Gemini and he rules Gemini, things are likely to get quite heady in terms of communication. Now, as he goes through this sign, he's making a trine with Pluto. He's going to make a square with the nodes. He's going to make a sextile with Neptune, a sextile with Saturn. So, he's very well placed. He's making he's actually aspecting all the outers. Uranus, first of all, then Pluto, then Neptune, or the other way around, and also Saturn, and also the nodes. So Mercury is holding a lot of energy. He really is a star player this week. So to round this all up then, I guess I would say the personals are all really waking up. The personal planets, it feels like they are moving forwards. Things are moving forwards in your life again, even though life isn't exactly as it once was. The outer planets have been working in our world, in our cities, our countries, our culture. They've been exerting their influence for quite a while now. And to me, it feels like in this week ahead, as things are moving forwards faster, it feels to me like our nervous systems, our bodies are starting to catch up. And this week is less about what's happening in the world, and it's actually more about what's happening inside me, because the world is changing on the outside. How can we work with that? So yeah, I think this is deep. This is deep acting, and this is encouraging us. It's encouraging our bodies to keep up, and it's not because we can't keep up. I guess what we are working out right now is, what can I no longer comfortably hold with my old worldview, and how can I comfortably come into this moment? I guess it's asking us to be a lot more honest about ourselves. The speed at which things are happening out, I think, are helping us to get really real really quickly. So yeah, this is an immense time. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope that's helpful for you. And if you want any more guidance, if you'd like to connect with me so I can pay this level of attention to your own chart and we can talk things through, then just get in touch. All of my details are below. Just book in my diary on Calendly and invite me to work with you. Or if you want deeper dives each day, or Monday to Friday, or 5 days a week, I do forecast within my community. It's a free community to join. It's skool.com. That's www.skool, that's skool.com/feelgood astrology. And if you'd like to learn with me, then come along and join my premium level of Skool, where every month there's 10 brand new sessions. I repeat them a couple of times as well, because I like to get things in different time zones so more people can join. But we've got a really lovely vibe inside my Feel Good Astrology classroom. So you're very welcome to join me there. Again, just go to skool.com/Feel Good Astrology. The links are below, and hopefully I'll see you soon. But anyway, lots of love, and hopefully you're be moving forwards in this week. This is absolutely moving us all forwards. What a shift. Lots of love. Take care and catch up with you all soon. Bye for now.